here we go. All right, so horse racing coverage live from Dubai. Doesn't mean we're going to be handicapping races from Dubai, but that means, of course, our illustrious handicapper / trainer, Chad Summers, is in Dubai. And hopefully he'll be there till April. How's it going, Chad?
April? What are you, crazy? You're going to be there till April, Chad?
If what is that? Somebody playing pool?
Yes.
No. See, Chad's in his how many? He's surrounded by other patrons there. Where are you? You in like the mess hall?
I'm in the international quarantine facility right here.
Oh, okay. See, that's why Chad's subdued right now. Right now, Chad is it's right now about what? 6 o'clock? 6 p.m. Eastern?
6 p.m.
All right.
Eastern, 6 p.m. Dubai time.
Dubai time. 9 a.m. Eastern here. That's right. Forgot. My bad. All right. Anyway, we are going to finally do some picks here on the show because the last few weeks we've been posting our special shows. We did the prediction show, of course. That's available to everybody on Patreon. We'll be posting that on YouTube soon. And then we, of course, did our award show as well. That was available on Patreon and has been for the past few weeks. It will be available on YouTube on the 25th. That's when the Eclipse Award, the announcement of who wins those awards in thoroughbred racing, which are called the Eclipse Awards, that is going to be on the 25th of January. We're going to post that on YouTube on that day. We've got fairgrounds coverage today. We don't do fairgrounds very often, but usually this is the day of the year we do talk fairgrounds. And because we haven't been on the air for the last few weeks, we have a bonus race that we're just going to give some picks on, which is going to be race 11. And that is a $100,000 race called the Colonel E.R. Bradley Stakes. It's not a graded stakes race, but it's a race for 4-year-olds and up. After that, we're going to do races 12 and 13. 12 is the best race. That's the Louisiana Stakes. That's a purse 175 for 4-year-olds and up. That's a mile 16th on dirt. And then after that, we'll do the grade 3 LeCompte. That's a grade 3, $200,000 purse for 3-year-olds, a mile 16 on dirt. Let's just go over some picks quickly for this 11th race. This is a bonus race we're going to do since we haven't been on the air giving picks the last couple of weeks. So who do you like in this race, John?
In the 11th race?
In the 11th race, yes.
Yeah, I like the 6. Who took the money at 8-1? To me, he's the right horse to play. You got to beat the 2, Strong Quality, and the 9, Beatbox, but I think the 6 is the right key. 6 with 2 and 9.
6 over 2 and 9?
Yep.
Okay, and yes, as John said, the favorites of the race, you have the 2, Strong Quality, a 3-1 shot. You also have the 9, the 5-2 shot, Beatbox. Those are the top 2 favorites of the race. Chad, who do you like in this race?
I'm going to go with the 5-1 shot here, the 8-horse Rising Empire. I don't know that Fairgrounds is known for a horse-for-course kind of angle, but for whatever reason, this horse loves Fairgrounds. Ran really, really well there last year with a 3rd, a 2nd, a win, 2nd in the Marvin Muniz, which is kind of the big turf race over there. And you know, I know kind of spotty the rest of the season, but after that kind of looks like putting things together now. I think can run a big race here off the disappointing effort last time in the Buddy D'Alberto. He picks up Luis Saez, which is always a plus.
Okay. And that's the Walsh trained horse, correct?
Yes, Brendan Walsh.
Yes.
Anybody else with the 8?
No, that's it.
Okay. And I'm going to go with an exacta box 2, 4, and 6. So I'm going to throw in a long shot, the 4, Duke of Carthania, who's the sheet line is actually – it's interesting when you look at that. So that horse actually was trying to be on turf for 3 of the last 4 races and got moved over to dirt.
Welcome to 2020.
It wasn't by choice.
That was all of last year. It rained every day, didn't it?
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so that was race 11. Now, let's go to the 2 races that we're going to break down here on the show, including race 12, which is the top race on the card, and that is the Louisiana Stakes. Again, it's a mile and a 16th, and Red Route 1 is a horse that we've talked about before on this program because he raced in the Triple Crown just this past year in the Preakness and the Belmont Stakes. Didn't do much there, but of course we recognize his name there. Some of the favorites in the race include the 2 Smile Happy. That's a 9-5 shot. The 3 Saudi Crown, another horse that's recognizable who raced in the Breeders' Cup Classic at a dud there. After a couple of pretty good starts, including winning the Pennsylvania Derby. And there's only a 7-horse field, by the way. So those are the 2 favorites of the race. You're going to probably knock out at least one of the horses. So it's not a big field, John, but let's start with the one, Red Route 1. What do you think about this Rosario-ridden horse?
He's okay. I mean, he's a little slow. I mean, I don't think they're beating Saudi Crown. Saudi Crown's last race was 1.25 miles in the Breeders' Cup. I don't think he wanted any part of the distance. Cuts back to 1.16 miles today. And he was, you know, he's been training at Fairgrounds. It's Cox. You certainly could excuse the bad race in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Again, I think he had an excuse there. He didn't want the distance.
Yeah, that's one of those where we'd like to draw a line through it and say mulligan.
Right.
And just take a look at the previous 5 starts, which were 8, 8, 8, 7, and 8, as far as the sheets were concerned. And that also included whether it was a fast surface or a sloppy surface. So,
correct.
Do you agree with that regarding Saudi Crown? And what do you think about Red Route 1, Chad?
Look, I mean, you start with Red Route 1. The Zia Park Derby was a very oddly run race on a very speed-favoring racetrack, which did not play in Red Route 1's favor. He's a known closer. There's a lot of speed in this race that'll set it up for Red Route 1. I mean, if you look at it, it kind of, I mean, signed up in here. I mean, we know where Saudi Crown's going, right? Saudi Crown goes to the lead. He kind of takes no prisoners. 5-Star General was a very confidently ridden horse last time that was forwardly placed. And Capoon on the outside likes to be kind of in the mix. So, I mean, they should go fast enough early to set it up for Red Route 1. The question is he good enough? I know he's a millionaire. I know he was, one on the Derby Trail forever last year and kind of ran in those big races, but he just always seemed like he was a notch below, even within the own Steve Asmussen barn. I think they'd prefer kind of disarm. They can't wait for him to come back. I know he's breezing right now on his comeback. And, Red Route 1's a solid horse and a solid field. I just don't know that he's as talented as a few of the others in here.
Yeah. Before we get to Saudi Crown, then we'll stay in order. Just Smile Happy, because that's obviously one of the favorites of the race as well at 9-5. Hernandez on board, having a really good meet.
Listen, I don't know. I mean, time was 17 people, 4 horses, and
the horses are nut
to get him into the starting.
The horses are nut.
He didn't want to go on the gate.
He's really a nut job.
He refuses to train. To Kenny McPeak's credit, look, they took him to the farm. He's been training. If you look, all of his breezes come at, I think, whatever the name of the farm is. He has not set foot on a racetrack in 4 months. So it's anybody's guess as to what happens when he actually gets on a racetrack, let alone shipping from the farm where he's obviously gotten to a comfortable level to go over here and run at Fairgrounds. Look, you can make a bet and hope that if he doesn't win, he's scratched and you get your money back. But I mean, this is a total wait and see for me. I don't want anything.
Not at 8-5.
Even though he has, to his credit, he has run well fresh, but you have no idea what you're going to expect mentally from the horse, let alone physically.
Yeah, I mean, this was one of the top contenders, wasn't it? Wasn't this horse for the Derby?
Yeah, I hated him, and we had.
I remember that. Yeah,
we had feedback on some of our comment section. Told me how dumb I was, and then he disappeared.
You weren't that dumb.
I didn't have any commentary afterwards saying, "Oh, maybe you're right."
By the way, we have a couple of questions from our Patreon members that I'm going to get to you guys in between these races. All right, so the 3 Saudi Crown, as you said, pace setter here, coming off of 15 in that disastrous run at the Breeders' Cup Classic, but as I said, really strong just before that final race in November. So what do you think about Saudi Crown?
This is a prep. This is 100% a prep for the Saudi Cup. Okay, the ownership lives in Saudi Arabia. This has been their dream, is to take him to Saudi Arabia. It's a means to an end. He's still listed actually on the probables for the Pegasus, which obviously he's not going to run on. He's going to run in this race on Saturday. But to me, it's a prep. Now it was a prep for Mandaloun, and Mandaloun ran well to win the Louisiana and then ran poorly in Saudi. I haven't heard great things about how he's coming into this race right now. And to me, while there's other speed in the race, it's definitely his race to lose. And I think you have to include him in any kind of vertical tickets. But I'm going to try and beat him on the day for the win honors. I don't know. You know, these horses that don't get a break, it's one thing when they don't get a break from 2 to 3. And they go through the Derby Trail, and we've seen that, and we've seen it work well for some of these bigger trainers. When they don't get the break from 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and now you've been in training for such a long period of time, even though he didn't make his debut until later in the spring last year, he was in training all winter. So he hasn't had a break, and at some point, it's just these horses need a little bit of a freshening. And people think it's a freshening just because he hasn't run since the Breeders' Cup, so he's been off for 2 months. But I don't think he's left the barn. I don't think he went to a farm for any kind of a respite or anything like that. And he's a horse that might just need a freshening. Now he'll get it after Saudi Arabia because unless he goes to Dubai, which I don't think he will. So this is a kind of a means to an end. But you gotta be 100% in this race. This is a decent field.
Yeah.
And if Saudi Crown doesn't come with his A game, I think he's beatable.
All right, the 4 Happy Americans, an 8-1 shot, who actually was going pretty well from March to July. The sheets had him at 9-8, 9-8. But the last 3 races have not been in single digits, all been outside. The best of that was the last race when he ran an 11 at Fairgrounds. He's raced 50% of his career races at Fairgrounds. You are getting 8-1. Not sure that's good enough. But anyway, any chance on Happy American hitting the board, John?
Yeah, obviously has a chance to hit the board. I think he's a notch below these horses. And, I like other horses that are the same price or bigger prices underneath Saudi Crown. So he didn't make my cut.
This is going to be a very somber race. This will be one of the last times we ever see the colors of Lothenbach Stables. Unfortunately, he passed away a few months ago, and just 2 days ago, they made the decision that they're going to sell everything. So they're going to go to the February sale. All the broodmares, all the weanlings, all the yearlings, all the unraced horses, and then all the race horses, including Happy American, will sell in the digital sale the following week. So this will be one of the last starts. They had a great run. Neil Pesson's a tremendous trainer. Hopefully, people will give him some more horses because he's going to have a lot of empty stalls in his barn. He does a great job. Bell's the one, obviously, the filly that comes to mind for Lothenbach. That was just a tremendous filly. But this will be one of the last ever starts for the outfit. And so maybe we can get some vuju, some good vuvu in New Orleans and carry Happy American home. But he needs to break a little bit better than he's been breaking in his last couple of starts. He likes to take himself out of the race early, and he doesn't need to be giving these horses that much of a head start.
All right. Well, and you said that you believe that there's a lot of pace setters here. So you're thinking they'll
go fast. He since he had his little freshening, he just doesn't really like to participate early. And I mean, granted, Fairgrounds is his favorite track though. So if he's ever going to win another race, I think it does come here at Fairgrounds.
All right. Well, like you said, maybe some good juju will be something to keep an eye on there. The 5 is 5-Star General, and this might be an interesting horse, 6-1. So those odds aren't bad. And he had one bad race in September, but if you throw that out, you're looking at in the last 4 races, or 4 of the last 5 races, you have 9, 6, 8, and 10. He ran a 6 in August, John. So this is an intriguing horse who does have a win at Fairgrounds, and you're getting 6-1.
The problem with him is I was using him. The problem with him is he's part of the pace, so he may not survive. But off of numbers, he certainly figures.
John, it kind of brings up a good question on him, right? So you sit there and you look at the numbers, and on numbers himself, like if you take the numbers as a whole, he fits with this group.
Right.
His last race was good. Is there concern of regression? And then you add into the fact when you're looking at the sheets and you're looking at pace scenarios and pace figures and things like that. So, obviously the sheet is a tool that you use in conjunction with other races, right? So you say, okay, well, if he's going to regress a little bit and he's a forward-running horse that's dueling early on, is it more of a chance that number is going to escalate?
Yes,
that's a case of a bounce kind of mentality, despite he was very, very good last time.
Yeah, and again, off the numbers he fits, but off the flow of the race, I think he's in trouble. That's all.
I'll tell you what. I mean, very generous odds at 6-1.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact of the matter is, even though I don't necessarily love him in this race, I much prefer 5-Star General at 6-1 than Smile Happy at 9-5.
Absolutely, not even close. I agree 1,000. I'm not using Smile Happy on a ticket. I would use 5-Star General though.
Smile Happy ran at 5 in May. So
he's a very talented horse. He's just a nut.
When he feels like running,
Yeah.
He finished second in the Derby, didn't he, or wherever? No, he finished
Bluegrass.
Bluegrass.
Yeah, but that 6 does definitely stick out for 5-Star General as well. All right.
Well, Maurice Claret was a very talented freshman at Ohio State University.
He was. Helped him win the national championship. 6 is Confidence Game. That horse is too slow. Correct, guys?
Yes.
And the 7.
It's a very quick gloss over for the family of Zenyatta. Come on, that's Zenyatta's granddaughter.
Yeah, and Zenyatta's dropped a lot of successful horses.
This is the best one she's dropped.
Yeah.
Hey, she won. This horse won the Rebel, Grade 2 Rebel.
Yeah, he's also run awful at Fairgrounds. He should go back to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Kupuna, the 15-1 7 horse, does have an 8 and a 9 in May, an 11 last start. Matter of fact, the last 3, 15, 13, 11, heading back into the right direction. Maybe we get a single digits if that continues, and you're getting 15-1. Any chance for this long shot to 7?
Again, off of numbers, he has a shot, but he's never passed a horse in his life. So why is he going to start passing horses Saturday? He can't make the lead, not from out there. There's speed inside of him. I think he's up against it, pace-wise. But if you're looking at numbers at 15-1, you certainly probably should throw him in somewhere on the bottom.
Here's my question: if he can work out a trip,
But he's never passed the horse in his life, Chip, ever.
I know that's the if, right? If he can work out the trip, he's the horse. He's the horse in the race. First of all, if you look at his works, his last 3 works have been superb. He looks like he's rounding back into form. Brett Calhoun always has him ready to rock and roll. I mean, the guy literally lives. His house looks at the racetrack at Fairgrounds. He loves Fairgrounds. So to me, if he can work out the trip, then he's a must use at 15-1.
Yeah.
But this is why they call it horse racing, right? You can look at the form and say he's never passed a horse, and he's had a long enough track record. He's 5 years old now that it's not necessarily the light bulb's going to click on. But at 15-1, I'm actually going to roll the dice and pick Kupuna on top. And I think the speed in the race. I have a feeling that Saudi Crown 5-Star General aren't going to bring their A+ game. And Kupuna, if he brings his A+ game, I think he's right there.
Well, that's the trick. Like you said, if the 2 favorites don't bring their A+ game, it's open. So that's going to be the trick. All right. So Chad likes the 7. John, give me your pick.
3 over 157. I have 3 over the 157. Chad likes the 7.
Any exacta, Chad?
I like the 7, and we'll think happy thoughts for Happy American. So
okay, 74.
I'll box the 147.
1-4.
Try and knock it out down, which is probably a bad idea because he probably won't be worse than 7.
And I'm gonna unfortunately be like John. I'm gonna go 3 over 5, 7.
Is that royalties, John? Is that royalties when he has to be like?
Absolutely.
John actually likes it when I go after him and pick his picks. He prefer that than me going first and picking his horses.
Whatever makes you happy.
Next up, race number 13, and this is the Grade 3 Lecomte. So this is for 3-year-olds. Any of these horses we need to keep an eye on this year, Chad?
Yeah, I mean, well, you start with Nash because
Nash is a real deal, man.
Before Nash ran last time out, he was one of the top 3 choices for the Derby. He was bad and seemingly not with much of an excuse, but the horse that beat him in that race was Track Phantom, who was very good for Steve Asmussen, who again, I would say without a shadow of a doubt, as much as everybody wants to win the Kentucky Derby, nobody wants to win the Kentucky Derby more than Steve Asmussen and Brad Cox. The 2 of them are on an all-out plan. I mean, Brad won it.
Cox has won it already. That's
No, but
good.
he refuses to look at that as a win.
Yeah.
He wants roses draped around him. And Steve Asmussen has more wins than anybody.
In the
He's
world.
going around the world twice. But I mean, when Epicenter got beat by Rich Strike, we said, is that his best and final chance? We will soon find out. He's going to keep going. And Track Phantom was good last time out. He was, very
good.
He was the surprise. He wasn't supposed to be the better one. Asmussen ran 2 that day. Rosario was on the other horse. Christian Torres was on this horse. And now Rosario takes over the ride on Track Phantom. So interesting to see how the dynamics kind of work. And Brad Cox, knowing that this race is a $5 million race now, like Dr. Evil would like to say, is going to put 3 horses in the race with them canceling at Turfway on Saturday and Awesome Road being based at Fairgrounds. I would expect Awesome Road 10 to the starting gate. So I think Brad will have 3 of the 8 horses competing in this race.
3 from Cox, and then you have 2 from Keith DeSormo. And then, of course, as you mentioned, you have also Asmussen, McPeak, and Case. So those are the other trainers in the race. So you're saying that Nash and Track Phantom, those are right now serious Derby contenders?
Yeah, and then along with whoever wins this race. I mean, this is a point race to the Derby. This race was competed in and lost by the likes of Epicenter and Cyberknife just a few years ago, who were both major players in the Kentucky Derby. So, I mean, look, the Lecomte is not the end-all, be-all race, but it is certainly the stepping stone to the Kentucky Derby. The race was won last year by Instant Coffee. So, obviously, good horses can certainly come out of this race.
All right. The 1 is too slow, and the 3 is too slow. We can get rid of those 2, right?
And so is the 4 while you're at it. But go ahead.
All right. Well, the good thing about the 4 is he's improved on each race.
Hold on. When you talk about Can Group, and I'm not picking them. I agree with you, Tom. But the only dirt form you have is the first race going 5 furlongs.
2. You have the second race going 7 furlongs. 2. He has 2 dirt races.
He did get better.
Those are his only 2 dirt.
On the grass at Keeneland, and then he ran in the Breeders' Cup on the grass and wasn't embarrassed. Look, they want to take a shot. I'm all for it. It's out of a Street Sense mare. A Good Samaritan won on both surfaces, but his horses tend to really be better on grass.
Yeah, the good thing is, like, again, the sheets 28, 23 on dirt, 20, 17, and 14 on turf. So he's gotten better each race, but he's 6-1. All right.
How do they like this horse at 6-1? I guess because he ran in the Breeders' Cup, he's a joke. I wouldn't bet the horse 60-1. But go ahead.
Wow.
All right.
Off the 25 or the 23, Greg? What do you want to bet him off of?
I hope you didn't just put him in the winner's circle.
I don't. If I saw the result and I saw him win, I still wouldn't bet him.
All right. So Nash, by the way, 3 races. 18 was the first race. Followed up with back-to-back 12s. Raced at Fairgrounds once, and that was the last race when he ran at 12.
As you mentioned, 12 for that race.
Yeah.
Wow.
Why, you thought that should have been a lot better?
No, it should have been a lot worse. I don't know how he gets a 12
They gave Track Phantom in 11.
16 and
They
a half.
gave Track Phantom in 11, so don't feel bad. If you didn't like his 12, you're not going to like Track Phantom's 11.
Track Phantom was much better.
Yeah.
How far did Track Phantom beat Nash by?
1.25 lengths.
Yeah. And yet somehow in other places for other connections, that's worth 2 points.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Track Phantom in 4 races, 15, 15, 13, and 11. So he has a little bit of a better sheet line than Nash. Is Nash the better of the 2?
He's got 3 cocks. He's got
Nash is was the higher regarded. Look, this is one of these things, and it's funny because it's almost like in college football where it's better if you lose early, right? So this is like when Alabama lost to Texas. Alabama was a highly ranked team and everything else. They went out there, got beat by Texas, dropped all the way down in the standings. Nash on everybody's Derby pool was top 5 after his maiden win. And after the Gunrunner loss, he's not in a lot of people's top 10s. This is a pretty good race.
Okay.
But the one thing is, for a while, Nash was considered Brad Cox's best Derby horse the last couple of months. Now, since then, he won 2 Derby preps. He won at Oaklawn and he won at Aqueduct. So Nash has now dropped to 3rd in the standings for Brad Cox. But I mean, he can
But
get
if
it right
he wins
back.
Saturday, he'll be right back up there. So
The question is, or the answer is, he had no seemingly. I haven't seen anything where there's much of an excuse as to why he ran the way he ran last time. He never really looked like he was involved in the race. In fact, the fact that you're telling me he only got beat a length and a quarter, and I watched the race, to me, I'm kind of surprised because I thought it felt like he got beat by 20 lengths. I mean,
he was like 1-5, and he was supposed to win. He had no excuse, like you said. There was no visible excuse.
No. Now, the one thing I will say is before the race, Nash didn't work in company. He worked by himself very methodically. Brad Cox didn't think he needed company. And since then, he's now gone in company in his workouts, maybe putting a little bit more into his works, maybe a little bit more bottom underneath. And maybe that's what he needs. I mean, obviously, he's got pedigree out the yin-yang for who is probably undoubtedly going to win the Eclipse Award once again for Owner of the Year and Breeder of the Year in Godolphin Stables. So it's something that you can't take lightly. And 5-2 on Nash, the board will tell you all you need to know because the board screams for Brad Cox. If Nash drifts up from 5-2, stay away. If Nash drops down and is 8-5, 3-2, even at the lower price, bet your money.
Well, he went off 5 cents to $1 last time against the same horses, so chances are he's going to be 8-5. No.
And why do you say that?
Because they thought enough to bet him to 1-5 the last time he ran
Off a maiden win.
Off a maiden win. So you could always excuse a bad race. It's Brad Cox. You don't understand. The guy gets more respect over there than anywhere. So.
Yeah, I mean, because it's not like this horse wasn't bought for anything substantial, right?
He's a homebred. He's never been in a sale.
Oh, okay. All right.
And it's not like he ran so bad. If you're looking at figures, he paired up. If you could look at it like that. I'm not making a case for a horse that's going to be the favorite or certainly close to it. But that's the case.
All right. Let's talk then about the 5, Ethan Energy, a 4-1 shot. This is another one of those Cox trained horses. 21, first race. That was a disaster. But then came back at Fairgrounds last month, ran a 13 to break his maiden. So what about Ethan Energy?
I'll tell you 13 was also first Lasix last time out. The question is, was it a Lasix pop or was it just – go ahead, Chad.
Look, the race that he ran poorly in first time out has actually come back to be a key race. Agu, the winner of the race for Whit Beckman, came back in his stakes place and is very possibly thinking about going to the Saudi Derby. The fourth place for the race for Cherie DeVoe came back and broke his maiden and then won the stake on the undercard of the Gun Runner. He won whatever the sprint stake was. So it's already produced 2 stake horses out of that race. And if you actually watch the race of the debut performance, it's not a bad race. A lot of times Brad Cox does not have them keyed up and geared up to win off the screen first time out. And I thought he ran a sneaky good race. It kind of reminded me of Drumroll Please's first race, and then he kind of went on and continued to improve. The maiden score was good. It wasn't the fastest time, but Fairgrounds doesn't often show you the fastest times. I like the fact that Luis Saez is giving up a Saturday in New York to come out here and ride this horse. I mean, he obviously could have had a lot of live mounts in New York, but he's chasing the Derby. He obviously teamed with Brad Cox with Essential Quality in years past and won this race last year aboard Instant Coffee. So Ethan Energy is not without a shot. Obviously, if you look at the work report, it looks like he's been working with Nash. They both went 5 furlongs and 1 in a minute and 4 fifths last time out. So I think Ethan Energy is certainly a horse that you have to consider, and he will be longer odds than Nash.
Yeah, for sure.
Look, if he wins the race, am I shocked? No. And you know what's funny? At the end of the day, we always talk about, how to make the sport more fun and, incorporate new things. How great would a teaser bet be at, 1 to 2 odds or evens? Brad Cox wins the race and you have 3 against the other 5.
Yeah.
Just something unique and different.
Sure.
For the people that like to bet, roulette, the people that like to bet under/over in basketball games and football games that don't want to handicap so much. I say, yeah, Brad Cox got 3. The money that would take would probably be significant.
Yeah, I'll have to ask Mark Lawrence about that. Why don't they? He has those connections out there.
Yeah,
to start making some prop bets for horse racing.
They have them.
Where at the casino or online at sportsbooks?
I don't know. They used to have them in casinos. They don't have anything anymore in casinos.
I've been able to find them.
Still have High Gal?
Huh?
They still have High Gal?
Yeah.
I just like watching.
Three-card poker. I watched three-card poker. I was trying. I played it years ago. The last time I was there, I forgot how to play it. And
The 6 is lat long. This is an 8-1 shot. It looks pretty slow.
yeah, well, he is slow. He's not one of the major players. He's a notch below.
Took 5
he
races to
always-
break his maiden.
Yeah, but he always seems like he gets the piece, but it's just very slow races that he comes out of.
Well, he hasn't finished off the board. 5 starts
Yeah,
to win a
But
second.
just slow races, you know.
Yeah. His high on the sheets is 15 twice. And then it's so Track Phantom. Track Phantom, obviously, if he wins this race, he's going to be a top Derby contender, no question about it. But and again, he's got some pretty good sheet lines. Never been worse than 15. So
He's
how
never
good?
gone backwards. Every race is well. He's never done anything wrong.
No.
There's nothing wrong with this horse at all. And I have a feeling, even though he's the morning line favorite, and even though he beat the 2 last time out, he may not be such a favorite.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, look, he's a $500,000 yearling purchase. So I mean, obviously, he was well regarded. I'm not sure why he was the less regarded of the 2 Asmussen horses when he ran last time. But he didn't run like it. I mean, it really seemed like he put it all together last time. Quality Road is obviously a top stallion. And the one thing that we've seen year in and year out with Steve Asmussen, when he follows the road to the Triple Crown, especially down at Fairgrounds, where Steve is based, you know, most of the time, obviously taking trips to Sam Houston to watch his son win his first couple of races, but based mainly in Fairgrounds. His number 1 assistant, Scott Blasie's at Fairgrounds. This is where their main string is. Time in and time out. Those horses that click on that Derby trail, I mean, you look at Epicenter, you look at Gunrunner, you look at all these horses, you know, it seemingly year in and year out. Even Red Route 1, you know, ran well, you know, on that circuit last year. So, you know, once they figure a horse out, which it looks like you said, John, they're, you know, improving every time. Once they figure a horse out, he's a horse you keep going back to. It's very difficult to sit there and be like, I'm throwing him off my ticket. I'm not using him, because they always seem like once they figure a horse out, he stays pretty consistent. You know, you have some trainers where you'll get a 1 in, 1 out kind of thing. Once they're there, they've done a really, really good job, and I don't think Steve gets enough credit for it. Of once they're there, staying there, maintaining there, and even, you know, improving a little bit as they go on.
By the way, I forgot to do those viewer comments, so we'll work on that right after these picks. Awesome Road looks a little slow as well, the 8, and the other Brad Cox horse.
He is slow. It's only his 4th start, so obviously you could improve, but looks slow to me.
You know the old saying, and I'll use a football metaphor, but when you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have 1 quarterback.
Right.
When you cross enter in a race at Fairgrounds and a polytrack race at Turfway, you don't know what you want to do. That's a pass.
Let me ask you, is Axel Concepcion still a bug?
He just lost it this week.
Oh, I was thinking he's going to use a bug here with
What's that mean?
He had a 5-pound weight advantage.
Apprentice, a jockey who's no longer an apprentice. That's why.
But now he has what's called a nepotism weight advantage, which means when your son is the son of trainer Brad Cox, then the rider gets to fly down from Turfway to ride Awesome Road.
This was you talked about this jockey on one of our shows, didn't you?
He has him up for some award or something.
Yeah, he's probably going to win the Eclipse Award.
Oh, that was it. So
Yeah.
it was one of your awards. Because this actually is going to go into one of the questions I'm going to ask I'm going to bring up from the from our Patreon member. But before we do that, let's go ahead with the picks. Oh yes, Apprentice of the Year. This is Chad's pick for Apprentice of the Year. So there you go.
Despite being suspended for 42 days.
He was suspended for 42 days?
Yeah, he dropped somebody at Delaware Park. They try to give him longer than 42 days, too.
He dropped somebody?
Yeah.
Rough riding.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, so pick time. John?
I like the 7, Track Phantom. I think he's going to control the pace again. 7 with 2, 5, 6. Exactly. 7 over 2, 5, and 6.
2, 5, and 6. So 6 being the long shot of the group. Chad?
The Derby Trail so far this year, last year, went through Brad Cox. It's tough for me to say that it changes now. I'm thinking Nash is going to rebound. I'll give him an excuse for the last race. I'll go Nash over Ethan Energy over Track Phantom.
2, 5, 7.
2, 5, 7. And I'm going to go ahead and go 7 over 5. All right. So I want to get to those viewer comments. So let's quickly do that. They came from our Patreon members. Richard Buckler. Actually, these are questions. Richard Buckler wanted to know when will a Raider from overseas win the Kentucky Derby?
Not this year.
Not this year. We almost had it last year, like Dermot Sotogake, who ran very well. Even though
there is a nice Japanese horse this year, but I don't think he's. I don't think he's there yet. Look, it's the one thing I'll say to Richard is there is a road to the Derby in England that is a couple of all-weather track races that doesn't seem like it attracts anybody. Nobody really cares about running in Wolverhampton in the middle of the dead of winter. The road to the Derby through Japan, they've gotten better. They're improving, but their program isn't really set up. And the one thing we saw from Dermot Sotogake last year is with their new infatuation with traveling to Saudi Arabia and Dubai and America, it'll take its toll on you. And Dermot Sotogake, who I got a chance to know very well, being in Saudi, being in Dubai, being in Kentucky with him, and then again later on in the year in California, by the time he got to Kentucky, he was a tired horse. That's a lot of miles, right? We talked on our award show about the Motel 6 award that we gave to Dermot Sotogake, and it's a lot of miles. So if Japan was singularly focused on winning the Derby, the way the success they've had lately, maybe it'd be a little bit different. But right now they're trying to just get all the world's riches. And so with that being said, I don't like that in the Derby. And ultimately, you know, Godolphin and Sheikh Mohammed chased and chased and chased and chased. That's the only thing he wanted to do was win the Kentucky Derby with the horse that was based in Dubai. And it seems like the last few years, mainly because Charlie Appleby's his main trainer, and Charlie goes after races like the Epsom Derby, which means more to him than the Kentucky Derby. It just seems like they've kind of shied away from it, and they don't chase it as much. They're not buying horses with that in mind to win the Kentucky Derby. So it might be a little while before, you know, a foreign horse wins. But at this stage, we just want a horse to win the Kentucky Derby and then win another race, because other than Mandaloun being put up in the Haskell, the only other horse that won a race since the Derby was Justified. So you're going back 6 years.
That's nuts.
Horse that can win the Derby.
I mean, we all want them to win the Preakness, but even if they don't win the Preakness, at least win another race. It's not asking a lot.
All righty.
Oh, I have one more.
Oh,
So, and this is for you, John.
go ahead.
Siggy Mendoza.
Siggy.
Question. At 12:59, he's referencing the video of the, I believe this was the, I don't know which one it was, one of our last two videos. This was a prediction. At 12:59, Hardoon is asked for his top 3 Horse of the Year candidates. 1, Air of Defiance, along with Hop Sing and Fierceness. At 16:16, Hardoon is asked for his Disappointment of the Year, Fierceness. So both Horse of the Year and Disappointment. Perhaps the question was misunderstood?
No.
Explain yourself.
He's either going to be the biggest disappointment, and if he's not the biggest disappointment, it's like when you bet dice, okay? Sometimes you go behind the line, and sometimes you press. So
You're hedging your bet.
that's exactly what I did. Boy, they listen to every word like this. I'm going to have to be more prepared for next year's award show.
All right, so
How about Ziggy doing the research now? I love it, Ziggy.
Wow, they really listened. I love that. That's good.
yeah, and our most recent
But here's the bottom line. Personally, I don't take these award shows that serious, only because if you go back and check the previous year, not only our award show, but many award shows, half the horses they mention aren't even around come the award time. Okay, so.
Our most recent, I think from our last show, our most recent Patreon members include Al Belgum. Not sure if either of you guys know, or Belgium, but I think it's Belgium because there's no I in there.
Why don't you ask him a spelling of his name? If you're going to promote the guy, let's you're butchering his name. He's going to cancel. He's going to cancel already.
Welcome aboard.
Come on, Grug.
And Siggy.
Ziggy, welcome aboard, Ziggy.
Ziggy's new. So Ziggy's already contributing.
Ziggy's busting John's balls. Already I'm a fan of Ziggy's.
I got to piss Ziggy off about something. I apologize, Ziggy. I'm sorry, but
next week, January 27th on a Saturday, things start getting a lot more interesting, especially at Gulfstream Park.
Yeah, it's Pegasus time.
Yep.
So starts on the 26th.
What's on the 26th?
Hi, I'm in Dubai running for $1 million on the 26th.
Oh, that's right. That's next Friday. I asked you off the air when your horse is running, so it's next Friday. But we'll talk about that on next Thursday's show. We'll talk about.
Will probably be around next Thursday.
Yeah, he's going to be a little.
You finding Chad on Thursday? Let me put up the line right now. Slim and none.
Uh-oh.
I'm planning on doing school with you solo. Chad will just be too nervous, and he'll be doing stuff he has to be doing.
Well, it means no 9 o'clock in the morning show for us next week. We'll check in.
Good time. We'll see how Chad, if he could make it. Hopefully.
Yeah, we'll check in. We'll give him a shot, and we'll definitely be rooting for him.
If the Patreon members want me there, I'll be there. I want a groundswell. I want to rally the troops. If the Patreon members want me on the show next week, I'll be there.
Yes, we always want you.
I'm going to write that down. I'm going to put that as a big question.
How much do we want you? Not do we want you. How much do we want you?
Yeah. So
all right, boys. I have got to go. I have another obligation. It was great, Chad. Good luck up there, and we'll talk soon. And Greg, I'll talk to you as well. Stay safe and be well, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.
All right, so that's going to wrap it up here. Again, just want to remind everybody of those shows next week at Gulfstream. Actually, those races next week at Gulfstream Park. 2 Grade 1s, the Pegasus World Cup Invitational and the Pegasus World Cup Turf Invitational. You also have 2 Grade 2s, the Pegasus Filly and Mare Turf Invitational and the Inside Information Stakes. And then you also have a Grade 3, La Prevoyante, whatever the hell that is. That's a Grade 3 stakes race. But there are 5 in all. Actually, 6. I forgot about the Fred W. Hooper. So it's also a Grade 3. So you got 6. Actually, 7. I can't believe I missed another one. That's another Grade 3, the William L. McKnight. So 2 Grade 1s, 2 Grade 2s, 3 Grade 3s at Gulfstream Park. So I think we're going to be doing Gulfstream Park on our show next Thursday. So stay with us. And if you are not a Patreon member yet, well, this is the time. It's better than any other time, that's for sure. Matter of fact, just ask Siggy, because he joined right at the time. Actually, our last 2 joined at the time that we hadn't had any shows. Maybe that's why they joined. They're like, where are all the shows? What happened to them? They were on YouTube for free. Well, again, keep in mind that we do not post on YouTube all the time, obviously. But when we do, you'll get the videos available usually on race day. And that's pretty much normal. And it's I'd say on average, we probably post on YouTube somewhere around 65% of the time, maybe, right around there. But if you want 100% of the time and you want them on Thursdays, which is usually when we post, which is a full 2 days before the races, then for a measly $5 a month, you can become a Patreon member here. And the link is in the description area, so it's very simple to join, and it's only $5. And if you don't want to join, if you don't want to, for whatever reason, you just didn't like it, who knows? Maybe we had a bad luck of picks for the month that you joined, and you're like, well, these guys can't pick anything. Why am I wasting my $5? Well, you can go ahead and cancel, and all you did was waste $5. So anyway, I'm sure it's not a waste. I know it's not a waste. Even just listening to these guys talk today, you know it's not a waste. So we will, by the way, as I mentioned at the very top, we're going to post the predictions video real soon. I just haven't figured out when, but real soon. Probably in the next few days, actually. No later than early next week, I would venture to say, and that'll be on YouTube. And then it will also be on YouTube, the award show, That is going to be again on the same day that the Eclipse Awards are going to be announced. That's January 25th. That's when we're going to post it on YouTube. So that is going to wrap it up. Bring on the questions, and don't forget Discord as well. Okay, we have a Discord community, so you can converse on Discord a lot quicker and a lot easier. Not to say that you use Patreon. That's awesome, of course, to ask questions and comment and so forth. But Discord is another community that we have just for anybody that wants to talk about, maybe on race day, something comes up. One of the horses that John or Chad picked is scratched, and you want them, hey, well, what's their alternative? If they're not available, I'll get their input and let you know myself. But John can let you know, because I think he's on Discord now, John, along with us. I don't think Chad is, though, so you got to push Chad to get on Discord. And you can also do the same whenever we post on YouTube. So you can get that going too. Don't forget, no more Prime Sports Network for the horse racing. Now, we will post snippets of the show on Prime Sports Network, but our main base on YouTube now is our Horsepower. Actually, it's now called Horsepower PSN, because I found out that there was probably about 10 other channels called Horsepower, not specifically for horse racing. So I said, well, I got to break it up a little bit. There's too many horsepowers. So I did Horsepower PSN. So that's the name of our channel, our horse racing channel. And that's where we post now all of our horse racing shows. And please subscribe there, because we got to get that subscription base up quickly as best we can. Anyway, I'm out of here. It's Thursday morning, and I'm just waking up now. So thanks to John and Chad, and not sure if we'll get to Chad next week, but if we don't, we'll be sure to remind you as far as what his races are going to be on Friday, so you can follow his races over there in Dubai. But hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to him next week. Again, big racing at Gulfstream Park next Saturday, and we'll have 2, maybe 3, because we did have a bonus race today, and I'm going to try to get another bonus race on next week's show. Again, that's to make up for not having a couple of horse racing picks videos over the last few weeks in place of the special videos. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.